I'm going to talk about business plans and why you should invest time in creating a business plan for yourself. So, at a very high level, businesses only do two things: they create a product and then they sell that product. A business plan is simply a document that helps you answer one question, which is how. How are you going to build your product and how are you going to sell your product? It's a very simple question, but the answers can be difficult to discover and difficult to answer. And it's worth spending the time to answer those questions as you develop your company and the business behind it. A business plan is not homework, however. A lot of new novice entrepreneurs think of business plans as assignments that they have to complete and turn in as part of their entrepreneurial degree. But that's not the real purpose of a business plan. It's not a checkbox that you simply check off and move forward with creating your business. A business plan is a living, breathing document that you work through as you learn about the business that you're creating. Creating a business requires and involves a lot of discovery, and this discovery can be documented and guided by using a business plan. One important element of building a startup specifically is that startups deal with a lot of uncertainty, and it's impossible for any entrepreneur to get a business plan right on their first try. If you do a business plan once, that business plan is going to be outdated by the next day or the next week or the next month, depending on how much progress you're making with your company. So your business plan will change as you learn about your customers, as you learn about the product that you're building, as you learn about the market that you're going to serve. And then as you go out and start building and talking to these customers, you're going to learn even more, and your business plan is going to change from all of the work that you're doing. Even if you do absolutely nothing, your business plan is going to change. And that's because markets change. So if a new competitor enters the market or a new technology enters the market while you were on vacation, your business plan is now outdated. So you shouldn't think of your business plan as a fixed thing that you complete once before getting your business started. Again, it's an evolving document that's going to change as you go. So you should think of it as a planning document, not as an assignment. Now, if you're going to raise money from a bank for a loan, or if you're going to go to investors, or if you need to submit a document for a pitch competition, then you should focus on having a business plan that is well written and cohesive and looks good. But for your own purposes, you shouldn't spend too much time on the form of the business plan. Again, it's really there to help you think and help you ask the right questions. So maybe your business plan is a bunch of notes that you have on your computer or in a notebook, or maybe it's just something that lives in your head. It doesn't really matter. Don't get hung up on the format, because the format itself is not what's important. It's the questions that you ask and the way you go about answering them. So the elements of your business plan will depend on the business that you are creating. No two businesses are the same, and no two business plans will be the same. Again, if you're applying for a loan or if you're applying for a competition where they have certain pieces of information that they require, you definitely need to answer those pieces of information. But for the sake of planning, you need to plan your business in a way that makes the most amount of sense for whatever it is you're doing. So if you're an early stage company and you find a template for a business plan that asks for 5-year financial projections, you might not have the information necessary to answer those projections. Don't worry about it too much unless, again, you're submitting something for a bank loan. If you don't have that information, that's just another question that you can have to answer in the future, but it doesn't mean that you can't move forward unless you've answered that question. So focus on the elements of your business plan that are relevant to you, and don't worry too much if you come across elements that aren't as relevant. There are different forms of business plans that you can find online. So the Small Business Association has some. You'll find some from venture capitalists. When you look at different forms for pitch decks, the different venture capitalists like to look at, there's the business model canvas pioneered by Steve Blank. These are great templates to start working from, and they're a good starting place, and they'll help you start to answer some of the basic questions. But again, you need to pick the forum that's best for you. And if there's something in any of these forums that doesn't apply to you, totally fine. And if there's something that's missing, you should add it to your business plan thinking, again, to make it relevant to you. So what are some elements of a business plan? I'll go through a handful just to give you a sense of the types of questions you should be asking and answering in your business plan, but this is by no means comprehensive. And again, these questions will matter depending on the type of business that you're creating. The first thing to think about are your customers. You need to know what problem your customer has, as well as what solutions they're already using. These don't need to be competitive products. They could be solutions that the customer is coming up with on their own, such as keeping a list of all of their patients using pen and paper. You should also understand how much the problem costs to the customer and how much they currently pay to solve that problem. Customer questions help you understand who you're serving and why their needs aren't perfectly being met yet. You also want to think about your market. So how big is your market? How many people are in the target market that you're going after? Who are the competitors on the market that might try to force you out or copy you or undercut your prices? And what is your strategy when you first get started to go to market? Who's going to be the first set of customers, and what is the first product you're going to sell to those customers? These questions help you understand how many people there are that you can sell to, both in the beginning of your development and as you grow. And it also helps you understand who might challenge you as you build your customer base. You also want to take some time to think about your product. What is your product? How does it work? What are the different features that your product has? What's it going to take to build and develop your product? And how much is it going to cost, both in time, employees, and financial resources? These questions help you understand what you're going to build and how you're going to build it. You want to think about your revenue. A business needs to make money. And so you need to understand what you're going to charge, what price you're going to charge, and how you're going to charge it. What is your business model going to be? Are you going to sell on a one-off basis? Are you going to sell based on the consumption of the product? Are you going to sell a subscription? These questions help you understand how much money you can make on each customer, and you need the prior information around market, customer problems, and product to understand the answers for your pricing. The last major question that a business plan will help you answer is how you're going to pay for everything. Where are you going to get your funding? Once you've answered all of the questions around your market, your product, your customers, and your revenue, you should have an understanding of whether your business is going to require outside capital, whether your business is something that you can get a bank loan for, or whether your business is something that you can grow off of the revenues that you'll be generating. So whether or not it'll be something that you can bootstrap. This is an important question because ultimately building a business takes money, and you need to have a good sense of where that money is going to come from. Again, these are just some of the basic questions that a business plan will help you answer. But one of the important things to keep in mind is that some of the questions that you need to answer, you're going to have to discover on your own. If you're building a novel business, every single question hasn't been asked for you already, so you're going to have to come up with some of those on your own in researching and developing your business.